Wrapping up the week on Tesla Shorts Time, Daily, episode 480. Patrick here in Vancouver. It's May 22nd, 2026. Here's what's wrapping up the week in Tesla land. Tesla's first Model Y price increase in 2 years tests whether buyers will absorb higher costs amid softening demand. Tesla quietly increased prices on 3 Model Y trims in the United States. The move marks the first upward adjustment in nearly 2 years and affects the entry-level rear-wheel drive and long-range variants. Buyers now face higher transaction prices at a moment when inventory levels have grown and incentives remain limited. The change comes as Tesla balances production capacity with shifting order patterns across its highest volume model. Watch for whether the adjustment slows weekly delivery rates or prompts more leasing activity in the coming quarter. After looking at pricing pressure on the highest volume model, let's shift to how Tesla is changing the way customers pay for its most advanced software. New buyers in Europe can now access full self-driving only through a monthly subscription. Just 2 countries have so far approved supervised FSD operation, limiting immediate rollout scale. The policy shift removes the previous outright purchase path that existed in other markets. Tesla is aligning payment structure with regulatory approval timelines rather than hardware capability alone. The next data point will be subscription uptake once additional countries clear the software. While Europe tests the subscription approach, Tesla has just activated supervised FSD in another major market after years of delay. Tesla activated full self-driving supervised for eligible vehicles in China. The software arrives years after initial testing began and after several local competitors launched similar features. Early access is limited to cars with compatible hardware and updated maps. Tesla is using the launch to gather localized driving data for further refinement. Uptake numbers in the first month will reveal whether owners value the added capability enough to subscribe. With FSD expanding in China, Tesla is also scaling the team that will support it. Tesla is actively recruiting engineers and software specialists to support its China autonomy efforts. The push follows regulatory approval for supervised full self-driving in the country. New hires will focus on local mapping, regulatory compliance, and integration with domestic data centers. The expansion signals Tesla's intent to close the gap with Chinese rivals already offering comparable features. Hiring volume and role seniority will indicate how quickly the team can scale. While Tesla builds capability in China, it's also managing service issues closer to home with the Cybertruck. Tesla is using remote diagnostics to flag power conversion system failures on Cybertrucks. Affected owners receive free supercharging credits while parts are sourced for repair. The program covers vehicles still under warranty and aims to reduce downtime during the parts wait. Early data shows the failures cluster around specific mileage bands. Continued monitoring will determine whether the issue requires a broader service campaign. From vehicle service challenges, let's look at how Tesla is handling a narrow but formal recall on the Model Y. The recall targets vehicles that may lack a required certification sticker on the driver's side door. Tesla identified the issue through internal checks and will remedy affected units at service centers. The scope remains narrow compared with earlier camera-related recalls, but still requires owner notification and scheduling. Regulators treat the missing label as a compliance matter rather than a safety defect. Owners should expect letters directing them to schedule the free fix. On the regulatory side, a competitor is preparing its own large-scale response to Tesla's autonomy push. Stellantis detailed plans for new, low-cost LFP battery platforms and in-house autonomy hardware. The investment targets a direct response to Tesla's supervised, full self-driving stack. The company is pairing cheaper cells with high-performance chips to enable competitive driver assistance features. Production timelines stretch into 2027 and 2028 for the first vehicles. Competitive pressure will depend on how quickly Stellantis can validate its system on public roads. Taking a step back from today's headlines, the decision to move full self-driving in Europe to a subscription-only model challenges the assumption that one-time hardware purchases best match customer willingness to pay. Subscription pricing ties revenue directly to ongoing software performance and regulatory approval in each country. In markets where only 2 nations have cleared supervised operations so far, the model lets Tesla capture value without locking buyers into a large upfront sum that may not deliver immediate unsupervised capability. Data from early subscription uptake will reveal whether owners treat the feature as a recurring utility or a discretionary add-on. If adoption stays strong, the approach could reshape how Tesla finances autonomy development across regions with staggered regulatory timelines. It also reduces the risk of stranded capital if future software versions require additional hardware upgrades. The shift tests whether recurring revenue can stabilize cash flow even as vehicle margins face pressure from price competition. Keep an eye on subscription uptake numbers in Europe and hiring progress for the China autonomy team as both stories develop next week. That's your Tesla news for today. TSLA closed at $417.85, up 59 cents, 0.1%. If you found this useful, a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify really helps new listeners find the show. You can also find us on X at Tesla Shorts Time. I'm Patrick in Vancouver. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you tomorrow. This episode used AI voice synthesis of my voice. Editorial selection and analysis are my own.